Hey, what's going on? I'm Rich Ward from Fozzy, and I'm here to tell you about my experience with the Positive Grid bias rack. So when I first plugged into it, the first thing I did is I kind of went through the crunch channel, because I know I'm going to want something that's kind of aggressive. So immediately, that's my AC/DC tribute band tone. But of course, I can add more distortion. Then I immediately went from there into my crunch channel, which is probably kind of a classic rock into kind of my 80s feel. And then I went up into metal, of course, where we should be. And that's obviously where I landed because that tone is way more compressed. It feels like, because you can hear the. And even though I would never play in a clean channel because that takes talent, and again, there's so many parameters to kind of dial through. You can find lead tones and rhythm tones and clean tones going from classic to modern, all within a pretty quick period of time. And just kind of within 10 minutes, was able to dial in something that was really comfortable for me, which is really cool because I could spend another 10 minutes and find something that was completely different that also worked for me in a different way. So a lot more flexibility than you're going to find in kind of your standard out-of-the-box amp that you can find in the store. One of the things that I have found that has been pretty important to me now in my career is that touring isn't like it was in the 90s or even the early 2000s. We're doing tons of fly dates, and in the old days, we would just have to have backline available for us at the gig that we rented, and you never really knew what you were going to get. And a guitar player needs to have a relationship with his amplifier. We really need to, when we go on stage, we need to be comfortable and feel like immediately we have a relationship with our tone because we're going to feel more comfortable, we're going to play better, we're going to have confidence. And so knowing that I've got a piece of gear that every night I plug into it, no matter what the scenario is, whether it's a fly date or it's a festival where I've got to get my gear up in 2-minute changeover, or if I'm on tour and we need that kind of flexibility out of an amp. And honestly, portability these days is very important. So being able to have an amp that we can throw in a rack, throw up above my head on the plane, or stick it with my pedal board in a suitcase and put it in the belly of the plane. These things are important, and there's a lot of things people don't take into consideration. Just to wrap this up, I wanted to say that from one guitar player to another, you have to have a relationship with your gear because they're how you express who you are as a player and who you are as an artist, and it needs to be able to adapt to what you need it to do based on who you are as a player. Your amp is as your dance partner, and this dance partner has lots of shoes and different moves and steps, and she's sexy. I suggest to put on your best pair of shoes and step to it. Positive Grid.